4-miler, and Tom Keane beside him. Well, he improved to 3:49 this year, the Englishman. Adam Spencer goes for Australia, the 24-year-old. He's a 3:49 miler. That was last year. Brian Komen of Kenya, 3:54. That's his lifetime best. Samuel Tanner, a very fast finisher, the Kiwi. Watch him, he's a 3:49 miler as well. Jake Haywood improving to 3:46 at the London Diamond League 2 weeks ago tonight, behind that world record of Josh Kerr. Timothy Cheruiyot, world champion back in 2019. After all he's achieved, he set a lifetime best back in July at the Prefontaine meeting. The world record holder Josh Kerr, 2 weeks ago, 3:42.66 in London at the Diamond League. He predicted it back in late March. You know, he'd run an unofficial world record for 1200 4 weeks earlier. We suspected it was coming, and Cam Myers there. Well, he's the youngster, the young pretender to the throne, perhaps. Cameron Myers, only 20, back on the 9th of June. This could be called the second miracle mile after the fabulous clash 1954 between Bannister and Landy. Many pundits going for Kerr, Whiteman, Myers in this one. Can anybody else spoil their party? 3 of the last 4 world champions going in this race. And miling is a very different event to the Co-Cram-Ovet era. They're hard and fast these days, but this could well be tactical, ironically, as they run into a wind up the back straight with the white vest of Masalela of Botswana in the front. Josh Kerr on the inside there, boxed at the moment. Everybody predicting a massive clash here between the two vests of the Scots. Kerr, the world record holder. Jake Whiteman, the former world champion, who is also a very, very quick miler himself, Jake Whiteman. And been taking around a nice steady tempo over this first 300 metres. It's about 45-46, I think, at 300.
I think you were right to cite Tupiso Masalela as a danger if the race went slowly. But Masalela, perhaps all that leg speed in the first 100 metres as the athletes were jostling is what's seen him leading the field through the first lap in 59. That's not going to trouble any of these men. That's absolutely fine. Komen in second place, Whiteman in third, and Cam Myers, the Australian, running a patient race here. He's been leading on the circuit, and his team have clearly said to him, you cannot try and run away from the start from a field of this calibre, but they're bumping and barging in the middle of the field there.
Masalela leading, Whiteman staying off the curb. Sheet A2 at 4 or 5 abreast there after a lap and a half. Kerr still boxed on the inside, but that doesn't matter this early in the race. He'll want to move out from there on the third lap. Very, very slow and tight, this one. I hope nobody goes down. The defending champion, Ahor, is third from the back, and actually young Cam Myers, second from the back, has got a lot of work to do. He's badly boxed too. He's actually now in the middle of the pack, Cam Myers. Masalela having a free run at it here. Kerr looking for a little bit of daylight as they come towards 800 metres. Komen there in second place. Down the outside is Tanner, and then also moving through nicely there is Jake Haywood in the red of Wales.
There are push and shoves left, right and centre here. This is what happens when the pace is slow. No one quite wants to lead with 2 laps to go. So everyone's making these micro moves. They're swinging round and slowing down again. Masalela doing a really good job of staying out of trouble. Timothy Cheruiyot's already taken 1 step on the infield. Here he goes around the outside.
Well, Masalela running into the wind here, and this is a big move from Timothy Cheruiyot, the first big player, and pushed onto the inside. There is Tom Keane as Tim Cheruiyot hits the front and causes some panic in the pack. Cam Myers there into second place. Josh Kerr back in about 9th or 10th at the moment there, the second of the 2 blue vests. Jake Whiteman off the curb. Sheet of South Africa running wide. Tim Cheruiyot into the straight, and Cam Myers looking strong there in second place with the rest of the field here looking at each other, watching who's going to go first as they hit the bell. 3 minutes exactly. That was a 57.7, but they've got to catch Cheruiyot now. Myers well positioned. The Scots likewise with 300 metres to go. Kerr on the shoulder of Myers. Whiteman back in 5th place. Tanner on the inside in the black, and into the back straight now they go. Also looking strong is Jake Haywood down the back straight as Josh Kerr hits the front. Has he got the speed here? Remember, 51 seconds for that final lap in that 1200 time trial 3 or 4 weeks back, as Whiteman follows him through, and Kerr gets a bit of daylight here. Cam Myers lost for speed at the moment in 5th place. Cheruiyot on the inside as Kerr hits the front. 3:42 mile in his legs, and he has blown them away. on the final bend, destroyed one of the greatest fields ever. Look at the gap. Cheruiyot in second, Myers finding the legs come through for the silver. Is he going to get Haywood the bronze there? Oh, it's very tight for the bronze. Wow. Josh Kerr delivered 2 weeks ago. He predicted that world record months and months ahead, and he lives up to it here. And he wins this second edition of what I think can justifiably be called the Miracle Mile by a country mile. Very comfortable victory indeed there for Josh Kerr. 3:54.12. All the hard running coming on that final lap. 57 was the penultimate lap. We'll get the split view on the final circuit. But Kerr from Myers, from Cheruiyot, Jake Haywood just run out of the medals. A brilliant run by Ollie Hoare there in 5th place. Not many expected that. And Jake Whiteman couldn't find the form he showed in Monaco 3 weeks ago in that marvellous 1,000. He finished in 6th.
That was one of the most chaotic men's miles/1500s I've watched at championships. It was so physical. The amount of energy that these men have expended for a 3:54 is far in excess of what the clock shows. And there were so many moments. Josh Kerr was desperately looking for a way out. He was desperately looking to swing round and pull wide. He didn't manage it until they went into the bell. Timothy Cheruiyot did a good job of getting himself into the lead at that bell. The Kenyan made an important move to separate himself from the bodies around him. Cam Myers was playing catch-up in the end on the home straight, nudged himself ahead of Timothy Cheruiyot, but in the end, as expected, Josh Kerr just too good in the last 200 metres, and the noise here in Scotstoun was phenomenal, and they'd saved those fireworks for Josh Kerr, hadn't they?
Well, it was a fittingly tough tactical race. My notes say that the Miracle Mile in Vancouver back in 1954 was a battle of wits between Bannister and Landy, and that one likewise. But the different nature of the races was quite stark on the final circuit there, because Josh Kerr has a devastating...
Starting here, the race becomes truly fascinating. When you look only at the finishing time of 3 minutes and 54.12 seconds, it may seem like just another strong victory in a world-class field. But if you look deeper, this race tells us far more about Josh Kerr than his world record ever could. Just 2 weeks earlier, Kerr had run an incredible 3 minutes and 42.66 seconds, rewriting the history of the mile. That race was all about speed, a fast pace, ideal conditions, and a clear objective to push the limits of human performance. Championship racing, however, is rarely like that. In championship races, nobody cares about the clock. There is only one thing that matters: crossing the finish line first. That is exactly why this race was so difficult. From the opening meters, it was clear that nobody wanted to take responsibility for setting a fast pace. The leaders were reluctant to do the work, and everyone else was happy to let them hesitate. The first lap came through in roughly 59 seconds, extremely slow by the standards of athletes of this caliber. When the pace is slow, a completely different challenge emerges. Instead of stretching out into a line, the entire field remains tightly packed together. Every athlete is fighting for position, trying to avoid running extra distance while staying close enough to respond when the decisive move comes. At that point, the race becomes less about raw speed and more about strategy. Throughout the first half of the race, the athletes were constantly changing positions. Some moved wide looking for clear running room, while others tried to hold their place on the inside. A single mistake could cost several positions in just a matter of seconds. For Josh Kerr, the situation was far from ideal. For much of the race, he was trapped inside the pack with very little room to maneuver. Several times you could see him searching for space, evaluating his options, and carefully reading the movements of the runners around him. To many spectators, it may have looked like a problem. In reality, it was a test of patience. The greatest challenge in a tactical race is often not physical fitness, it is discipline. When rivals start making moves around you, the temptation to react immediately can be overwhelming. Many races are lost because athletes respond too early and spend energy they desperately need later. Kerr understood that the real race would not begin until much later. Rather than panicking, he stayed composed. He allowed the race to unfold, watched his competitors closely, and saved his biggest weapon for the moment it would matter most. The turning point came with about a lap remaining. Timothy Cheruiyot was the first major contender to launch a serious attack. The Kenyan surged to the front and immediately changed the complexion of the race. Suddenly, everyone had a decision to make. At that moment, the battle for gold truly began. Cameron Myers found himself in an excellent position and looked extremely dangerous. Jake Whiteman was also right there, ready to challenge. For a brief period, it seemed as though several athletes had a legitimate chance of winning. Then Josh Kerr reminded everyone why he is considered one of the greatest milers in the world. While others had already begun spending their final reserves of energy, Kerr remained in complete control. He had wasted no unnecessary effort. He had not reacted emotionally. He had not burned energy on premature surges. And when the moment finally arrived to attack, he possessed a level of speed that nobody else in the field could match. With roughly 300 meters remaining, Kerr made his move. This is the moment that separates great champions from great runners. He did not simply take the lead, he broke the race open. What makes it even more impressive is the quality of the field he was racing against. These were not ordinary competitors. This was one of the deepest mile fields assembled in recent years, featuring world champions, medalists, and rising stars. Yet once Kerr accelerated, the gap began growing almost immediately. Normally, races at this level are decided by tenths of a second. Here, by the final bend, it was already clear that nobody could answer his move. Every stride looked stronger than the last. While the rest of the field was desperately trying to maintain speed, Kerr was still accelerating. By the time they entered the home straight, the outcome was effectively decided. Behind him, the fight for the remaining podium places was fierce. Cameron Myers produced an excellent finish to secure silver, while Timothy Cheruiyot held on for bronze after his brave attack. But the attention of the crowd was already focused on the man pulling away from everyone else. The finishing time of 3 minutes and 54.12 seconds may look modest when compared to a world record. But that is the paradox of championship racing. Sometimes a slower race demands far more skill than a faster one. This was not simply a test of speed. It was a test of decision-making, positioning, patience, awareness, and timing. It required an athlete to understand every phase of the race and execute the perfect move at exactly the right moment. That is why many experts value performances like this just as highly as record-breaking runs. A world record shows the limits of physical ability. A race like this demonstrates the ability to win under pressure. Within the span of 2 weeks, Josh Kerr proved that he can do both. First, he broke the world record, showcasing extraordinary speed. Then he won one of the most tactical and demanding mile races of the season, demonstrating exceptional racing intelligence. That combination is what makes him such a dangerous competitor. Whether the race turns into a fast-paced record attempt or a slow tactical battle, Kerr has shown that he can adapt, make the right decisions, and find a way to win.